Well, all across the front pages this morning, King Charles's plans for a slimmed-down monarchy, exclusively revealed by royal editor Russell Myers, and he joins me now. Russell, this is interesting. What does he mean by that? Do you think a sort of a slimmed-down monarchy, you know, like maybe cutting back on the coronation next spring? What do we think he means?
Well, I can tell you that King Charles thinks that he needs to be a modern, relevant monarch. And what does that mean? It means that, you know, everyone's feeling the pinch. We're all feeling a bit sort of uncertain about the world, aren't we? It's a sort of a cost of living crisis.
So, yeah.
There's a war in Europe, Brexit as well. It's all been a bit disjointed, and I think that's what the Queen's passing has sort of brought everyone together. You see the scenes of people flooding the streets, everyone sort of talking to strangers in queues. It's all felt a bit more like how we came together after coronavirus, and I think it's this togetherness is something that he wants to seize on. Right. And so, what does that mean for his coronation? Well, it certainly won't be a coronation of old. It needs to be relevant for the modern world, and sort of that's introducing a multi-dominational guest list, sort of being a defender of the faiths. I know that's been said a lot, and of course he is the head of the Church of England, but he definitely wants to make it a bit more inclusive, a bit more relevant to the modern world. And I think this is a great thing because, I mean, how much sort of relevant can you be with a man in a ruby crown? However, it definitely will be a lot more relevant to the modern world.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good thing.
And you said a man in a crown. It's so fascinating that for the next, well, for the foreseeable future, you know, we saw the continuing with, there's going to be King Charles and then William and then George, and then when George grows up, whoever is his firstborn, girl or boy. But for the foreseeable future, it's going to be kings. Well,
it will, and I think that's what we've lost, really, because the queens of our history have been such incredible figures.
Yeah, like Elizabeth I, Queen Victoria.
And we've left another huge era, the Elizabethan age, the second Elizabethan age, is something that we will all look back on. I think when the dust has settled on this passing of Her Majesty, then we're going to we're entering a new dawn, and certainly the new kings that are coming, they're going to have their work cut out, aren't they?
They are, and it's going to be very different. And as you said, you know, obviously the coronation is not going to be the same as the one that we saw for the Queen. Of course, it isn't. It's going to be very different. But the slimmed-down monarchy. What are we talking about? Who's going to be at the core of that?
Well, I mean, Prince Charles, as he was then known, he'd always sort of discuss with his family having a slimmed-down monarchy. And what does that mean? I mean, it means that there wasn't so many people working. It means that they were all kind of a lot more collaboration, really. And he's kind of got it by proxy because, obviously, Prince Andrew is left in disgrace. We've had the issue with the Sussexes, and they were always part of the plan, but they've left. So it's really up to the new Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate, and him and Camilla. And I think they've got the work cut out because they've got to really go on a lot of travel. They've got to really take over, especially William and Kate, they've got to take over a lot of the charities that Charles has sort of left over now that he's the monarch. But I think we're going to see a lot more collaboration. Will we see a bit more of Edward, Sophie? I think people have really resonated with the fact that Sophie has sort of come to the fore. She was a very, very trusted member of the family for the Queen, a much-loved member of the family.
They kind of did all the boring jobs, didn't they? God love them, but they did. They really did, like Princess Anne.
But hard workers as well, and people have seen that. Sure. So I think we're in a really interesting time for the monarchy, and I think they're going to need all the luck they can get, really.
Absolutely. You mentioned Harry. I guess both of them, Harry and Meghan, will be going home soon. They must be missing their kids.
They must
They want to get back home to see them.
Well, I mean, they've been away from the children for about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah,
so,
was it supposed to be like that?
It wasn't, no. They were supposed to do sort of a whistle-stop tour of Europe, come over, do a couple of charity events, do Invictus, and, of course, tragedy struck. So it's a difficult situation for them, right? Because you looked at Harry whenever, over the last few days, and he looked particularly distraught. Of course, he's lost his grandmother, potentially his only ally in this family. But as I understand it, there was no meeting with him and William.
Really?
It was reported
I thought they would.
It was reported that they just saw each other very briefly when their cars passed each other. It's a very, very sad situation, but there's a lot of distrust in the family because he's got his book coming out. How much will that destroy relations that are already pretty fractured? So again, once the dust has settled and they are still in a mourning period, I think it's going to be quite interesting for them because we've had this outpouring of emotion, haven't we, towards the Queen, towards the family.
And they've also been brought back into the fold.
They have,
you know,
yeah.
which is good, which is what you want. I think bin the book or just make it a tribute.
Well, is that possible though? Because you've signed a big money deal.
Well,
and
you can always give the money
it?
back. You know, that's the thing. I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
But it's strange. Now, look, we've talked about the fantastic coffin bearers and how good they are.
Yeah.
Lots of calls for them to be honoured.
Yes.
And quite rightly so. And they did their job right to the very end, didn't they?
Well, and expertly as well. I mean, these young lads were in Iraq just the week before taking on this duty, and I've heard a lot of things about saying they're pretty much rookies at this job, and they held themselves with such calmness, and I think their emotions really resonated with the whole occasion, and quite rightly everybody is calling for them to be honoured in some way because they took a front and centre role, and been a lot said about them, and I mean the images of them is one of the enduring images of the last
we sort of
few
want
weeks.
to find out more about them. I know that STV did something on the one of the coffin bearers from Fiji. Well, his family are from Fiji, and they went over and interviewed his dad in Fiji, and he was like bursting with pride, as you could imagine. And they're just they've got an open invite. They can all come on here anytime they like, and because I think that I shall give them vast quantities of alcohol.
Absolutely,
because I think they
never
amazing.
have to buy a pint again.
No, absolutely not, and neither they should. Neither they should. Isn't it really? The one thing I suppose that kind of struck me as well is at least the Queen got to see that outpouring of emotion and love and gratitude for the Jubilee.
Yeah,
at least that happened.
when we look back on
that wasn't that long ago.
No, of course, yeah. And when we look back on that and sort of that final appearance on the balcony with her three heirs, and I think that is the sort of one of the enduring images of her reign. And we talk about a modern monarchy, especially that Charles is taken over the reins, and he's really got a seize on this outpouring of emotion, this sort of outpouring of goodwill, because you know when he was going around the UK, that's certainly something that he has latched onto. So. Hopefully, we're going to seize on this moment because it's all about togetherness and unity is what the Queen was about. And I think, that's a really nice sentiment to take away from it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Lorraine on the ITV Hub and all the best clips, compilations and playlists right here on our channel. Just subscribe now and you'll never miss an upload. Click here to watch another video similar to this one, or click here to head to our channel's homepage to explore all of our exciting videos.